Hello, welcome to Moxie Journal. My name is Kalix and I use she, her pronouns. I am so glad you're here with me tonight. I thought I would come on and talk about having a deck collection. This is a tag or maybe a VR. Honestly, I don't know the difference between the two, so if you know, tell me in the comments. That would be awesome to learn what the actual difference is. I didn't see a hashtag, but this is a conversation started by Imogen over at Sapling Tarot on their channel is Sapling Tarot. And Imogen had watched a video, I think, on a beauty channel and had changed the prompts to apply to debt collecting and in the tarot community. And then I also saw that Julie over at Peekaboo Rose had done her response to Imogen's, which was a response to the beauty one. So anyway, I thought it's a really interesting conversation. Trying to practice a little more face forward one. So I thought I'd chat with you tonight about these questions. There are 14 prompts and I have a couple of cards that I'll show, but it's mostly just kind of talking about debt collecting and what it is. And I love thinking about collecting. I am a collector. I have that goblin collector brain. I have like 3,000 books in my house. My tarot deck collection is much smaller, but anyway, so I love sorting, I love thinking about it, and so I think these props are fun. So please stick with me. Otherwise, if this isn't your jam, then I'll just see you in the next one. All right, so here we go. Question number 1, and I do have notes, otherwise I would talk your ear off, so I'll try to stay on plan here. Question 1, how long have you been collecting decks? I guess technically since the mid 80s. I got my first deck then. I got my second deck, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years later. And then maybe 10 years after that, I got a third deck. I don't have the second deck anymore. And then maybe 20 years after that, so 2016, 2017, somewhere in there, I started getting more. I got some Oracle decks. I got the Wild Unknown. I still didn't know anything about TerraTube or other collectors. I really was in an art community, and one of the artists that I knew had the Wild Unknown, and I got to see all the cards. And that was the thing, right? Back in the day, you couldn't see all the cards unless you knew someone who had that deck. And so, I mean, you could go to Barnes and Noble or Books A Million and something and see the boxes, but that was kind of it. And so it was getting to see some of those that I got a few more, but I still only had like a handful, maybe like 8 decks, 9 maybe, definitely under 10, until about 2.5 years ago, so maybe 2022, when I found some more Oracle decks. I found some, got online. I found some decks, and I got MJ Cullinan's Urban Crow, which I loved, and I made my own sort of guidebook to go with it based on how I read it. And so I think this is actually important to say is that while I had a couple of tarot decks and I studied them, I didn't actually read tarot. I didn't really, I don't know, somehow I didn't make that connection in my brain. I just thought they were interesting. I liked the art. I had the Mythic Tarot. I liked the myths. I studied it from that kind of place. But I didn't like read. I had this thing about it in my head. I was around tarot readers because I was in the witchy community. I've been, for 40 some odd years. But they all kind of talked about it as being psychic. So I thought only psychics could read tarot. And I don't really think of myself in any way as a psychic like that. Just that word, nothing against that. It's just not how I think about things. So for me, like actually reading tarot wasn't ever going to be something I did until then I found TerraTube and I started seeing how widely used tarot was in lots of different ways, and it wasn't just about psychic. And I started reading about actually reading cards and from a more psychological perspective, and I love story, and you could use them in all these different ways as writers, and all of a sudden I was just, and of course then also I saw TerraTube and I could see walkthroughs, people flipping through their cards and then actually getting to know more about the creators, and I always liked the story behind the deck. Like that was really interesting to me. So my deck collection, that whole exponential curve thing, yeah, just I went from a handful to shelves and shelves full. So technically 40 years, but really actually intentionally collecting for about 2.5. What kind of collection do you have? Minimal, utilitarian, aesthetic, historical, etc. It's not really historical, not really, I mean, I know what the word utilitarian means, but I don't know how to really apply it to my deck collection. It's definitely not minimal, I don't think. I think maybe, before 2017 it was minimal. Aesthetic, I hope so. I mean, I love the art. Art is what draws me. So I guess wide ranging or eclectic, right? It's sort of miscellaneous. It's mostly tarot and oracle, and sort of by tarot I mean sort of RWS tarot. I don't have Thoth. I don't have Tarot de Marseille. Oh, fibbed. I actually do have one Tarot de Marseille. I have the squid cake, this cute little tiny pink one. It's still in its wrapper, but I saw it at a thrift store, and it was still in its packaging, like original, and it was like everything. It was like $2 or $3, and I couldn't resist. And I had sort of seen people who talked about Tarot de Marseille and about how that was maybe a good intro deck. And I thought, oh, well, if I ever do get into it, otherwise, maybe I could have it as a gift. So I do actually have one of those. I don't have any Lenormand. I don't have any Kipper. So that's kind of what my deck is. I guess really what kind of collection I have. I love the artistic decks are really important to me. I like story. I love story. Story and love are my two core values. So when I look at my decks, the really, whether it's an oracle deck or whether it's tarot, I need it to tell a story that I resonate with. I need it to be invitational, some way to come in. So that's really, I would say that's what my collection is. Question number 3, are you a completionist? No. Well, maybe a little bit. I mean, so my automatic is no. I mean, I just pick decks. I don't really need to have all of the decks that one creator has designed. For instance, I love MJ Cullinan. Like that Urban Crow totally speaks to me. I haven't gotten that Coastal Crow. I would love to if that's still possible. And I have Guardians of the Night, but like I don't need the Forhaxa. I don't need the Wise Dog. I definitely don't need the Grimalkin Cat one. I mean, I love her art. I think they're probably beautiful, but those aren't. I don't need those decks, so that's a completionist. I did, however, just recently I kind of went, ooh, maybe I'm a little bit of a completionist because Season of the Witch Oracle, I didn't. I had 6 out of 8 of them because I got the ones that I liked, and then I ended up with 6. The 2 I didn't have were the Samhain and the Yule. So I think those were actually the original ones. I loved the Beltane one. I loved Imbolc one. The Imbolc one's my favorite. And I thought, oh, I don't need those. And I was like, I celebrate the Sabbats, those seasons like that's like there was just this thing. I was like, well, I need to have those 2. I can't just have 6 out of the 8. That doesn't really work. But like the Broccoli Mag, I've got 2 of those. I've got the seashells, and I've got the. I'm just looking over there. My shelf is right there. I've got the gem one, the crystals one. I don't need all the others. Yeah. So I guess I'm a situationally dependent completionist, but mostly no. And then how do you store or organize your collection? I have IKEA bookshelves that really some of my books have had to, well, some of my books I've actually purged to make a little more room here. But of course, then I've just bought tarot books, so it's kind of filled it back up. I do keep them in their boxes so I can stack them and put them on the shelves also because I have one of those brains where if I put something in a bag, it's like it goes into a black hole. Like if I can't really, really identify exactly what deck that is, and really words work better for me. I had a couple of, when I first started, black velvet bag, but then I had like 3 black velvet bags, and I was like, I just would forget that there was a deck in there. I was like, oh, wait, hey, I mean, on the one hand, it's like, oh, surprise. But on the other, it's like, no, I need the words, I need the picture, I need the association. Also, I like to sort and move them around a little bit, but sometimes when I move them around, then I can't find the ones I'm looking for, So anyway, bookshelves in their boxes. What is your favorite thing about your collection? Oh gosh, I wrote a couple things down here, but really, I love the stories that are represented. I love the art in my collection. I love that I have a collection. I like being part of the community. I think maybe that's it. My favorite part of my collection is the way I get to use story for myself, but also that it connects me to other people who are using these stories, these reflections, having this visual language that we're speaking and sharing and supporting artists. And I like all of that. What is my least favorite thing or something about my collection that could be improved? Well, I think I've become more intentional about collecting. So maybe something that could improve is I have gotten a little pickier about cardstock. I know a little bit more. I know a little bit more about, I'm still never going to be really technically into all of it. Like, I don't know very much about the cores and that kind of thing. I have watched those videos. I have tried to learn. But I know a little bit more about what I like. And I have learned that even if the artwork is pretty, I won't actually use the deck if I just hate the cardstock. And unfortunately, I do have a few of those that I'm kind of wrestling with where the cardstock is just crummy. And that really, I'm learning that ruins it. So something that I can improve as I collect going forward is I could be do a little more research up front, pay attention to the cardstock before actually bringing a deck in. I think that would make my collection overall more usable, more satisfying. I do have sensory issues. If you've watched my channel before, thank you, welcome back. But also if you haven't, I have sensory issues, so some of that is really particular. All right. What is the biggest category in your collection? Oh, animal decks. I do have some people decks, but I probably a third of my collection has people. I have a lot more decks that have animals and landscapes and plants. Although I don't know that much about the plants, but I do. That's much bigger in my and stories, like storybook kind of ones. I have of my decks that have people in them. So my biggest section is ones that look like you could make a storybook out of it. All right. What's the smallest category in your collection? Oh, well, one Tarot de Marseille. I have one the Squid Cake. I also only have one like cutesy deck, and actually I have this sitting here on my desk. Look at this. This is the Kitten Nugget Tarot. And it's so stinking cute. Like, it has a little snack suit, and I'm trying to get the glare. And these little figures are kitten nuggets. I guess I don't know. They're just, oh my God, so cute. But I don't have any other decks that are cute or cutesy, that kawaii. I don't know. I just don't really gravitate towards that art style. But this one, I would never want to live without. It's like, I love it. It reads so well. So it's a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. Those were kind of extra cards I just showed you. Those are like archetype clones. But oh my gosh, and they have like little sauces. Like, do you see this? So, they're just, oh my gosh, it's such a cute deck. So but it's one. I have one cutesy deck. Oh, I think I just knocked my microphone over. Can you still hear me? So do I have a holy grail in my collection? I don't know that I've heard the term Holy Grail exactly. I've heard Unicorn Deck, like that's a deck that's out of print or something that you'd love. So maybe in that, or maybe Holy Grail is in the one that I wanted for a long time and then went out and finally got. I don't have one of those. I mean, I have some on my list. Like, if anybody ever got tired of their Spirit Keepers tarot, I would love one of those, particularly that Vitruvian edition. I think that's incredible, the Majestic Earth. But I don't have any one of those. Like, I didn't get in on that. And although, hold on, another one I have on my desk. I do actually have this one, Tarot Gallimaufry. It's an independent deck, and it was a limited first edition. I got like one of the last, I don't know, handful of decks. Like, I think she had 10 left when I got this one. And these cards, let me see if I can show you a few of these. I think she got really frustrated with her deck being copied and ripped off, and she does collage and digital collage, and I mean, she's absolutely an artist. It's not AI. Anyway, so this is one of my favorite decks. I think it's just so beautiful. This is the High Priestess, the Oracle. And look at that, look at that. Badger down here. Anyway, so I guess this is a holy grail, inadvertent holy grail. I didn't go out. I saw it and I definitely wanted it, and I was like, oh, shoo, just got it, because I actually went to get one for a friend and they were out of print. So that's as close as I get. And if I have totally misconstrued what that term means in the tarot community, tell me in the comments. All right. What is the next question? Number 10. Do you ever wish your collection was bigger, smaller, or is it complete? It could be complete. I mean, like if I don't know, if I got stranded in my house and I could never, I don't know, I had no money for tarot ever again, and I just had to live with the decks I have, sure, it could be complete. I love my decks. It could be. But I do still have a wish list. Like I would like to add more decks, and honestly, creators, you're on fire. There's some really amazing decks that are coming out. But I don't wish it were smaller. I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I can't imagine feeling that way, because I do want to work with my decks, like actually have them in rotation, and even if I only pull them out for special occasions, I do want to pull them out, and I don't have to always be doing spreads, but I want to be looking at them, holding them, going through them, loving on them. And if I have too many decks to do that, like I don't want to have some kind of archival tarot museum. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, some people have these phenomenal collections, right? I mean, 1,000 decks or more. So I don't have any aspirations for getting a collection that big. So maybe at some point it would feel, like I need it to be smaller. But right now, it's exactly the right size for where I am, and I do want it to keep growing organically. Maybe not quite the same exponential growth that I had in the last couple of years. All right. How often do you declutter? Well, I don't know that I've gone through and decluttered like the way I see people's videos where I have a whole stack and I, put them on the chopping block. I have gifted some of my decks to other people, a couple, and I have three in my purgatory basket's kind of a new thing, but I have 2 or 3 decks I really just decided I'm not gonna work with, and I haven't found a home for them. So I don't know, maybe I've decluttered twice. So I don't know. I maybe I should make it a sort of annual thing to kind of go through my decks. I do like that idea of sorting. I love to sort and recategorize, but I don't have a schedule for decluttering. All right. Have I... Did I answer this one? Do you ever get envious seeing other people's collections? I don't... Envious is not a good word. I have compersion. I just think that's so beautiful for you. I love your collection. That's exciting. But I don't turn green or wish mine was that way. I don't get jealous. Certainly, like I said, there are a couple of decks I would love to have that I've seen other people have. And I'm so grateful. Thank you for showing out-of-print decks, you all. I know some people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be showing out-of-print decks. But if you don't show me an out-of-print deck, it's out of print. And if I don't have it, I won't get to see it ever unless you show it. So please keep showing it. So no, I don't get envious. I'm happy for them. Who on YouTube has the best collection videos? Oh, so many people. I meant to go back and look up some of the ones I've watched. Of course, Lisa Pepez has done some. I loved this fall at Sincerely Shanna D. That's Sincerely Shanna D. So Shanna had a great series. I just watched one recently by Thea. I've seen some of Sylvie at Tarot Magpie. They've done some. Who else? I don't know. Those are the ones that come to mind, though. But I think those are fun. I like sorting my thing. I think I just said that. But also I like to see how other people categorize their decks. Like some people have put a category. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have thought to do that. Oh, Erin Lento at the Witch of Saturn. That's the name of her channel. She did one, and I don't know if she maybe did a whole series of them. I only saw one of them about her witchy deck collection. I was like, oh, I love that. Like, that's so cool. So, all right. Those are a couple of my favorites. This last one, question 14. What is some advice you'd give to a future or new deck collector? I wrestle with this a little bit because I wouldn't just offer advice. But if someone asked me, and I'm going to pretend for this scenario that someone did say, hey, Calix, what do you think? I would probably say a couple boring things, but important, like, hey, don't spend money you don't have on this hobby. It's pretty easy to kind of get in that sort of addictive place and that wouldn't be really good energy. I might say something about doing a little research about AI. Well, first of all, deciding how you feel about the use of AI in decks and creators, because I think that's a personal choice. And then I think once you make that choice, in order to stick to that, you need to maybe learn how to do some research. And pirating in general, right? I didn't know very much about that, and I was really grateful to come across really pretty early some videos about how to tell if you had a legitimate deck. And I would say look for those videos so that you're supporting creators. And because even on Etsy, like there are some pirated decks, and I would advise somebody to pay attention to that. I would also say something fun, like have a good time. Like, you may not know what your style is, or you may not know how you're going to use it until you get it. But then once you get it, practice. Sometimes you don't know those things until you get a deck in hand, until you learn in your body what feels good. Somebody may say, oh, I like linden finish, oh, I like rose petal, but until you have them, you may not know if you like bendy cards, or if you like stiffer cards, or if you like ultra cards, or people say, oh, I have a big hand over a small hand, but I don't know, people don't hold up their hands so I can measure what size mine is. So get a couple of decks in hands, play with them, really enjoy them, have fun with it. That's what I would say. All right, so thank you so much to Juliet Peekaboo Rose, and definitely to Imogen at Sapling Tarot for starting this conversation. And thank you for spending time with me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Oh, I always forget. If you like this, give me a like or a subscribe. I love meeting new tarot friends. All right, now have a great night. I'll see you in the next one.